Good now, everybody, and welcome to the Rise Up Morning Show. It is time for helpful news, commentary, and answers to your crypto questions. I don't know why that came out like that. My nose is kind of itchy this morning, but that's okay. It's the worst that could happen, right? It's only a crazy time in the market. It's only a crazy time in our lives. The elections, if you live in the United States, meme coin season, if you're a global citizen, and everybody around wants to know, are you still investing in that crypto stuff? Well, this is the show for you. Because whether it's the top or the bottom of the market, Alex and I, our friends and colleagues, are here every Monday through Thursday to make this crypto market a little bit more steady for you. In the ups and downs of life, that's what we're here for. So if you've got questions about cryptocurrency, about Bitcoin, about how it all works, then bring it on over to us and we'll do our best to help answer it. I saw a really great example yesterday of telling a better story. There's a developer on Base called Jesse Pollock who got in this argument with this guy named Matt Stoller, who I was unfamiliar with, but apparently is like a big deal in antitrust circles. So you think he'd be kind of into crypto? And apparently this guy is not, but he's very hostile about it. Jesse Pollock was talking about something and this guy said, I can't believe you promote that Ponzi da-da-da-da-da-da, and proceeded to enter into a terrible bad faith argument that Jesse Pollock was just so sweet in. He said, I would love for you to give me any example of an industry that matters to you, and we can talk about how crypto, the technology, will help break up trusts and monopolies in that industry. And the guy said, talk about payments. And Jesse Pollock made a great example about the hegemony of companies like Visa and Western Union, and how companies like Farcaster, Zora, Paragraph make it possible for people who are creators to get paid directly by the people who support them. Micropayments, totally a thing. Absolutely it's happening, and it's happening because of crypto to make it possible for everyday people to bypass the monopoly of companies like Visa, of MasterCard, and so on and so forth. It was a great example. And this guy was like, whatever, bro. So it can be a hostile place out there sometimes. And you just need a community of folks who are not going to, but who are going to help you get in touch with good information, who are also skeptical like you and want to help you learn. That's us. Alex, brother, what's going on, man? You having a good morning? Are you the strong and silent type today? Yeah. I was like, listen, bro. There's Will in the comments. Will, take your time in. Alex and I are all pros at doing a back and forth cold opening. There's no problem there.
No worries. And I do believe that's actually not fake Casey this time. I think that's real.
Oh, wow. Not fake Casey. Did you tell Casey the story when you met her about how we had fake Casey? I had her on the panel for a whole damn minute.
Of course I did. Bus, me throwing Evan right underneath.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, welcome everybody. Welcome Not Fake Casey. And hey to Angel, hey to CJ, hey to all our friends in the chat. Good to see you guys. What were you going to say, Alex?
Real quick, while we wait to be joined.
Please. That's the sweetest little sneeze. While Alex is dying, let me remind you that tap the screen. It helps the show. Share this with your friends. Let them know in the Discord that we're live. And feel free, if you're not fake Casey or Will, when you're ready to request, and we'll bring you up. Go ahead, brother, now that you're alive again.
Just wanted to show my and I'm kind of, so this is why I'm excited about it, because I've never considered another wallet. But I think this is my new walking around wallet. Okay. Evan, to put this in perspective, I was just looking for my phone.
Yeah.
I found it. Yeah. Great.
Oh my God.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the show. But so Good morning, Casey. It's good to
Good
see
morning,
you
Casey.
again.
Good morning. How's it going?
So
Going
good.
good. Alex
I'm
is
killing it
navigating
this
the
morning.
waters of early onset Alzheimer's as we speak.
I'm 2 for 2.
Uh,
But no, I was just gonna say. So like this one, my tried and true Old Faithful, the Trezor. Obviously, to use it, you got to plug it in, and I've got the desktop software, and all that good stuff. And it's very simple and sleek, and it's got Bitcoin, and that's what it does. I mean, it can hold other stuff, but my Bitcoin's been there for years.
yeah.
But this thing, I was just kind of stoked about and this is one of the things we're going to have someone come talk about because I already am going to forget some of the stuff. But just the way that the card works, there's nothing to break open like there is here that we have to worry about all of that kind of tampering and whatever nonsense and security measures to prevent against that. It's NFC, so like if you need to do something with it, you just tap the phone and there's your wallet pops up right there, and you can approve, deny, send transactions, whatever. But you have to have the card and the phone together. If you lose one or the other, there's nothing you can do. You'd have to have them together, and then you'd have to get through biometrics and the PIN. And I think there's one other layer. Anyway, it was really cool. And I was mind blown at how fast it was. It took me I think you tap the card, scan a QR code on the little paperwork that they give you to get the app, set up the word, and then that's it. Get the app. All done. Took 2 or 3 minutes.
And real
So I
quick
was
follow-up
impressed.
question before I pick on Will for his morning face. You get 3 cards with it?
No,
Or is it
one.
just the one? What was the
Yeah,
one we were
I mean,
looking
you
at
can-
the other
you
day
can
that
buy
comes
as many
with
as you
3
want.
cards?
What is it? What comes with 3 cards?
There was a wallet. I don't remember which. Somebody asked us about it on the show. I was unfamiliar with the user experience. I looked it up. It comes with 3 cards that I also believe are NFCs. And I remember my immediate reaction, and it's also my reaction to the Arculus, is you're talking to me, man. And I'm the guy who loses hotel keys. Do you know what I'm saying? So, what happens? Where do my keys go? How do I back it up? And obviously, I get that it's secure because nobody else but me can use it because there's some biometric protection. But
Sure.
that would be inconvenient as hell.
No, it's the exact same thing. If you lose a ledger, if I lose that, I hopefully recovery phrase doesn't get lost. If you lose the recovery phrase with anything, you're screwed.
Obviously, but the card.
no, if you-
I don't know why. I'm more worried about a card. I lose them more.
Lose the card, that's I'm sorry, you got to buy a new card and then just restore the wallet and you're good to go.
Okay.
I like my ledger because it has physical buttons. That's the only reason. Just like click, click. It makes a little clicky sound. It makes me happy in my heart of hearts.
Yeah.
The thing that I liked about this was just that it made me feel like I could have my walking around crypto, that the process to get it on and off of cold storage was a lot faster and easier and more mobile. So you didn't have to if you had crypto that you were going to be using for stuff, but you didn't want to let it live in a hot wallet all the time. I think that's the happy medium that Arculus is in. That was
Sure.
kind of cool.
Casey, what do you use for cold storage?
I use ledgers.
Yeah. Is there a particular reason that you use them? Is it just it was your first? Is it a preference?
It's just a preference. I mean, I love the answer for the clicky buttons, but that's not the reason that I use it. But I've used it for years and years, and I like it. I trust it, and yeah, that's really it. I mean, I have a Trezor as well, but I don't know. I just prefer my ledgers.
Yeah, I think so. And we've got a couple of good comments about Tangem. That's I think the wallet that I was referring to that has the Decent and Tangem are cards. They come with 2 or 3. No seed phrase, but I think Tangem. I think this person is right. They make seed phrase an option. And then somebody also mentioned Engrave, which is air gapped and sealed. I tend to find most of these wallets, it's like networks, sufficiently decentralized, sufficiently secure. And the most important thing is what are you personally going to use well? If you get a ledger, but you're plugging it into your MetaMask everywhere and like importing it into all kinds of stuff, then that's probably, don't, it's not working for you. If I'm going to lose a hotel key, that's probably not working for me. I like and appreciate that we have a lot of different perspectives, but I definitely need to try more wallets because there are so many. And I think that's an area where we have so much. What was somebody saying to us the other day in the comments, Alex, about, oh no, maybe it was in Discord. Somebody was making the point about how difficult it can be with any wallet interface to view your profit or loss, your cost basis for a token. A lot of the reporting in the interface is not helpful for that. And you might want to know, what's that question? What am I going to take profits? And you got to figure out, when did I buy it? Look up the transaction, look up the block explorer, whatever. All these things could just be in your wallet interface. We have room.
Well, I'll have them send you an Arculus. You can give it a try. You're just going to tell me if you want it black or silver. And
listen, man, silver. I'll try silver, but you got the black, right?
Yeah, I think the cool part for me is just that like we're at a point now where there are so many options that we have a panel of 4 people and all of us could say something different, and then someone in the audience could still suggest 2 or 3 more different ones.
Yeah.
I mean that's what we want, right? We want a shitload of options.
You want to know something crazy that somebody said on my live the other day is they said, I use MetaMask as a cold storage wallet. And here I am like trying to refute them as, what do you mean? And he said he uses an old cell phone of his that's not connected to any cellular provider or anything. And so whenever it's connected to the internet, you can be using it as a hot wallet. But otherwise, when you disconnect it from the internet, it's almost acts as cold storage. And I was like, that's pretty smart I wouldn't do it personally, but like, what would be creative?
Yeah.
I remember there was someone, Evan, maybe you remember who it was. Maybe it was Glenn. I think exclusively for Bitcoin, he basically like retrofitted an old flash drive to run some piece of software, and then he managed to he broke it. It was not like a product you could just go buy and then go do. He did something to it. But he built his own wallet, I think, to kind of prove that it could be done, sort of thing. I think it was Glenn. I'd have to ask him, but
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was interesting.
What were you going to say, Will?
No, I haven't heard that one.
What was I gonna say?
Yeah, you were gonna say something, brother.
It's gone. It's gone. Sorry, I'm torn right now between crypto and a whole heap of mess with all these lawyers at this one company. Not with me personally, with company to company lawyers, and I'm the go-between.
Other people's lawyers, yeah.
Other people's lawyers. And so I have in my head right now our crypto conversation, and then I also have this absolute shitstorm going on like my day job. And sorry, I'm split right now, but I'm just trying to get a few things out before I'm in trouble at 9 a.m.
Well, listen, take your time, get your stuff out. Welcome to the show. I do want to say, since it's Casey's first time here, thank you again for joining us. I would love to give you a moment, if you would like, to either introduce yourself, share your thoughts about consensus, ask us a question, and if it would help you, we're pretty informal here. I tend to occasionally bring us back to do a commercial and signposts and stuff, but this is, a good space for any kind of question, conversation related to crypto. So however you want to use it is good. And I have a prompt for you if you can't think of one, but the floor is yours. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. So for anybody who's wondering who's this lady that's up here, I recently connected with these guys, got to hang out with Alex at Consensus for a bit this past week in Austin, Texas. So that was a really great time. I have been an educator in the crypto space for full time since 2022, but really since 2021 was whenever I started educating in crypto. Got into the space back in 2014 and 2015, so I've been around for quite some time in crypto. And yeah, I have a crypto education company, and I'm just on the mission with these guys to spread the good word and not just be a shiller, and actually help people to learn this stuff and learn it the right way, and really to reduce the learning curve that I went through when I was first getting in the space, both in just crypto generally speaking, as well as in DeFi. That's a lot of what I teach. So yeah, it's a little bit about what I do.
Casey, I wonder, before you give us some of your thoughts on consensus, I wanted to just give you a rose and ask you a question, which was, when I saw your live, as often happens on TikTok, I get introduced to a new crypto creator, and most of the time I'm like, oh no, this person's talking about cryptocurrency, and I'm just worried because there are so many ways it can go wrong. And I was just so impressed with not just the knowledge you shared, but the way you shared it, how unpretentious, how willing you were to answer questions and also to like question yourself. To me, the sign of a great educator, Alex says this sometimes, is like, we both say it different ways, is you're willing to say like you're wrong. Like that follower with the MetaMask, I can absolutely hear myself being like, hey bro, don't use MetaMask. But the willingness to like check your own assumption and listen to what somebody else has to say and allow it to inform you and learn and grow, to me, that's like the difference between, you know, good and great. So good job. Way to be awesome. Thank you for being here. Would you mind? You told an incredible story on your own live. If you don't want to tell it, that's totally okay. But I thought it was riveting about your own experience coming to Bitcoin and how you navigated personal struggle through like a bottom in your life through addiction specifically. I thought it was marvelous. Can you talk about it? Are you willing to?
Yeah, absolutely. I talk about it on like YouTube and here and everything like that, so it's no big deal. But I'm glad it touched you, so that seriously means a lot. So yeah, I mean, I found Bitcoin like I said, started buying in 2014 and 2015. At the time, not because I was an investor, but because I was being a shithead. Myself and my friends and my college roommates, we were using Bitcoin to initially purchased fake IDs and then drugs on the dark web. And so, I mean, like a lot of people that came into the space. And so in 2017, so I guess I skipped a bit, but it was really tricky at that time. The exchanges weren't quite as straightforward as they are now. So it was tricky to get our money back out of it. Also, the fact that none of us really understood what we were doing. But come 2017, I started hearing about Bitcoin again. I'm like, I think I have some of that Bitcoin stuff somewhere. And so I ended up being able to access my old exchange account and had a bunch of Bitcoin and sold most of it at like a 50x gain, thinking I'm this legendary investor. You know, I just made the greatest trade of all time. But I wasn't at a place in my life where I was super financially savvy. I wasn't, really financially literate at all at the time. And so I didn't take the initiative to learn, like, why did this asset just do what it did? I just thought it was sky money. You know, I'm like, oh, I'm rich. And I didn't think anything of it. But at that time in my life, you know, as I kind of alluded to, I was using a lot of drugs and I wasn't in a good place in my life. And so that money quickly led me down a really, really bad path. It wasn't like you made a bunch of money and then you started businesses with it and you did all these good things. No, that money like swiftly was spent on not very good things. And so 2017, actually, in making that money, it really led me to a dark place. And in 2018, I started getting arrested all the time. I went to jail, I went to rehab. So I finally just hit this rock bottom where I was like, I can't live like this anymore. It's like, you know, you feel that inside of you and I know that I'm meant for more. I know that this isn't me. This isn't what I'm put here for. And so 2018 was when I really turned everything around, and happy to report that I have 6 years clean and sober now, and life is far sweeter now than it was back then. But so it was just like, I had a weird intro to Bitcoin, and then it almost gave me this weird resistance to Bitcoin going forward, because I'm like, oh no, that stuff almost killed me. And it's like, no, you almost killed you. But so, you know, 2019, once again, 2018, I started getting back on track. 2019, I really started to take the initiative to become financially literate. I wanted to learn money. I wanted to learn business. I wanted to, you know, I was really on this new mission in life. And in 2019, I got back into Bitcoin. I got back into Ethereum, but I didn't understand everything else. And 21 is really where I learned DeFi, and that's when everything changed for me, was in 2021. I mean, I did get lucky with the timing that I learned DeFi. I learned it beginning of the summer in 2021, and as we all know, it's just a parabolic growth curve from there, and that's what set me financially free and able to, do crypto full time and all of that.
Man, what a crazy story! That's
right.
Awesome. And also, like, props to you, for like educating yourself in finance, because a lot of people don't do that. But obviously, everyone here is working on that. But even bigger props to like not a lot of people can like put the brakes on their life when they realize some shit's going wrong and turn that shit around. I got some family members who have been unable to do that. Similar kind of track, and it's tough. It's tough to watch for themselves and the people who love them. But so major props to you for that. That's awesome.
Thank you so much. And that's really why I talk about it openly. For a long time, I didn't talk about it because I thought that people would think a certain thing of me or whatever, kind of, I don't know, discredit you in a certain kind of way. And now it's like, the more and more you speak about it, just about everybody I know has either struggled with addiction or has somebody that they love that has struggled with addiction, or it's impacted their life in some way. And so, part of it too is I think when I was joining the space, whether it be in crypto, entrepreneurship as a whole, I'm also a real estate investor, but just in these rooms, right? I think when I was first learning, there was this massive gap that I saw between myself and the people that I wanted to be like. Like when I was trying to learn from these mentors and from these people, there was just this huge gap where sometimes it was hard for me to kind of picture myself in their shoes because I just felt like there was such a gap or they had such this far advantage. So really, I talk about this stuff to humanize myself too, of like, yeah, maybe I'm a few years ahead of where you're at right now. I was there too, I promise you. Like I was dead broke, no money, literally just told you I was in jail and rehab. Like I promise you it doesn't start here. And so again, it's just to humanize myself and let people know that you can do this from anywhere. And that's the cool thing about crypto is there is no starting point, right? And this is leveling the playing field, and this is the way that the people can get ahead. And yeah, I appreciate that.
Man, thank you for sharing. This is so great, and it's what I like about your story is that it reveals not only your personal growth but your professional growth. I can tell from your arc the opportunities you've had to learn that make you a great teacher. You talk about DeFi, you talk about that time frame, learning about Bitcoin before it was easy. To have been able to track kind of some of the growing things in the industry, which is not to say that people who weren't there for them aren't good teachers, but there really is something to having some longevity in this space that allows you to, if you're paying attention, navigate scams more easily, explain topics that get lost in other people's mouths. And so I wanted to say too, if you're here from Casey's audience and you're seeing us for the first time, that's really the mission of this show is everyday people helping other everyday people learn to leverage this technology in ways that will help them, we say, rise up. That's what gives the show its name. That all of us are able to share what we know, ask questions, learn and grow together. It's one thing to spend 24 hours a day learning about this stuff by yourself, but the second you get in a room with other people, you accelerate your learning journey because Casey's going to learn about this and bring it back to the group. Alex is going to learn about that. Will's going to learn about this, and it's going to help everybody. Plus, in a space like this where people want to take advantage of you, especially on TikTok, it's good to have folks who aren't going to try and sell you anything that you can ask a question to without being made to feel stupid. So we're here Monday through Thursday. If you need more helpful crypto content on TikTok, come hang out with us anytime.
Evan,
Casey,
what are you talking about?
I'd love to kick it over to these guys if they got a question, but I also want to know eventually what your takes on consensus are. What were you going to say, Will?
Oh, sorry, I interrupted. I didn't mean to. But I was
No, you're good, brother.
TikTok's full of only good people that want the best for all of us.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Trust me, bro.
Yes. TikTok is also trustless, just like Bitcoin. You can just leave anybody, man.
You know.
Poopy butt Ponzi scheme coin is it's the way. Put your entire 401k in it.
Yeah, exactly. That's my that's always our disclaimer is verify, don't trust. Hopefully we don't say anything that leads you to make any kind of decision. Everything is about conviction here. Learn things, verify them, build conviction for yourself. I could go on, but I know you have questions. Alex, you've been tracking questions. I want to hear what Casey thought about consensus because we got your takes yesterday. Where do you want to go with this, man? What do you think?
No, I think that's good. I wanted, Casey, I wanted you to talk just a little bit about your company too, because I know that you taught a class while we were in Texas, I think.
Yeah.
So I want to hear a little bit more about that. And then my two little points for the day. One, my theory holds up. There are two top trending stories about Cardano's price on CryptoPanic. So all is as it should be. Nature is healing. And I have a new theory that I'm tracking now, which is that Will's coffee cup gets tinier every day.
Wait, it gets what every day?
It's smaller.
Smaller
It
and
just
smaller?
keeps getting. Look how tiny that thing is. Look at that little.
I see in the chat, apparently Will has a killer skincare routine as well. So
Oh yeah.
Listen, this
My
show is not
products right
sponsored by retinol, but it could be.
Yeah.
Okay, wait.
look,
If Will's going to talk skincare, I'm going to go get my coffee.
No. We need to talk about crypto. Well, Casey, start on consensus because I'm very curious too, and also I'm very curious to hear about your company. I know the people in my audience definitely want to hear about that kind of stuff too. And then we'll talk about my small coffee cup and my skincare routine later.
Yeah, maybe we can get you like a Rise Up morning show branded little baby
But
espresso. I'm
little
gonna look into that.
tiny baby like Italian espresso cup, like something I have to hold with my pinkies.
yeah, perfect. Yeah, so consensus, man, it was a ton of fun. It was, I would say, I mean, the feedback I've been giving a lot of people is that this was probably the best crypto conference I've ever been to. I've been to a lot. I've been to different, consensuses, Bitcoin conference, different Web3 conferences, just stuff everywhere. And I think that this is probably my favorite so far. For a couple of reasons is I think that this was a very mature crypto conference is what I'd say. I mean, there was a lot of really important conversation that happened just with different people from within the government and different people within different companies. But it wasn't so much just like a fun like pump fest type of deal that a lot of this stuff tends to be. It was actually like there was a lot of really, really productive conversation that happened, and both from the industry side of things as well as the personal side of things. I made a lot of really great connections. I mean, you guys, but it's, I don't know. I thought that if I had to put a word on it, I would say like maturity is what I saw from this consensus versus every conference previously.
That's interesting because the last crypto conference I was at was Bitcoin Miami 2021, and I hadn't gone to another one because we just like walked out of there, and every conversation was like just a Bitcoin maxi yelling at anybody who mentioned an altcoin. And I was like, I'm just gonna go home. Like these people suck. It's like my honest take on it. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm hoping that Bitcoin Nashville is different this year in that same way.
Yeah, and I'll be there, so would love to connect if you guys are going to be there.
Yeah, I'm going to be there, and I think Evan's there too.
I was planning on it, but I may not be. I think I'm gonna have to go visit my grandpa, and I think it's gonna be at that time. But if I'll know this week, I would really love to be there because I'm hoping it's more mature than Bitcoin Miami was too, for sure. That was,
No, those last few made me very bearish on conferences because, like you said, on the floor it was like, I don't know. It was, I think mature. I would not have phrased it maturity and immaturity, but that's the perfect way to describe it. And this consensus made me think that perhaps there are some conferences that are still worth going to, which was really cool because previously Mac and I were kind of in the mindset that like, no, you find a good conference and you go there. Don't waste your time going to the conference. Just, be in the city for the conference time and go to satellite events, which I don't think is a bad way to do it if you don't feel like paying, because I would not have gone to consensus if I didn't get in for free. The tickets were very expensive, definitely prohibitive cost for a conference that was a couple days long.
Yeah, that's a really valid point to bring up for everybody as well. If anybody does want to go to these events, I mean, really where a lot of the networking happens, a lot of the good conversation happens, it is at all of these side events. So to Alex's point, like if you're in a city where a big crypto conference is going to be, it's worth checking out. Even if you can't swing the ticket, definitely just get involved.
Yeah, and Alex, can't you just have like an LLC and then just like write off the ticket as a taxable event as a tax write-off?
Yeah, it's just doing.
Yeah,
you still have to pay for it.
Yeah. A lot of people want that money for their groceries now, which I totally get. And if you are a person who's doing the kind of things like to build community here or on Twitter or on Workcast, and you're in a crypto conference city, you could be the person who organizes the meetup and not only like builds the social reputational credit, but then gets that first point of contact to bring other friendly people into. Like that can totally be something you do. It doesn't have to be difficult. It could just be, we're meeting up at Applebee's.
Yeah.
Totally fine. People love that stuff.
Casey, I'm curious though on your comment of like this consensus was more mature. Like, what were some of the things that like made you see it as more mature?
Yeah, so I think just a lot of the panels specifically, with executives from like the companies that come to mind are like Swift and different governmental agencies and things like that. Because of the recent developments in legislature that we've seen and things like that, I think that's why we had more of a grown-up conversation, heavy like panel lineup. So that's kind of what I was thinking is, again, kind of those payment rails, the different parts of the government. There were a few political speakers this time. Typically, maybe there's one or two. Like last year at Bitcoin, RFK spoke, and who else? Vivek spoke last time, but this time I feel like there were quite a few political figures that spoke. And I don't know, just again, that kind of thing, more of the proverbial adult side of things versus just like there's usually way more panels on meme coins and debates about dumb shit, to be honest. And listen, I love to meme as much as the next guy, but in that kind of format, those conversations are really productive.
Yeah.
No, I thought the panel this year was quite something because we had a few very specific bodies represented. I mean, Hester and Lynn Martin both being there was pretty fucking substantial, if I do say so myself. Especially given the way that Lynn Martin is probably the one I was the most excited to hear from, because that's the entity that, like, if they decide they're going to do something, there's not really a lot of powers in the verse that can stop them, to quote Firefly. But so that was cool, especially given that they are interested in exploring more ways to get into Bitcoin in more robust ways, which is cool. We had more congressional representation as opposed to just people who are actively pandering for office, which was cool. Just because you can't trust a word that comes out of a presidential candidate's face in the year of an election. So that's always a little risky. But I thought one other thing that, now that I'm thinking about how was this conference more mature, there was a whole chunk in the middle of the floor that was, Casey, maybe you remember, I can't remember, I don't think it was a co-working lounge because Stellar had the co-working lounge, but right across from them was the Google area. Mm-hmm. It was like a product testing or demo or hackathon, like a dev. It was like a dev focused something, but it was sponsored by Google Cloud, and it was this massive chunk of the floor. And it was just interesting to see, like huge Google branding sponsoring like a whole section of the conference floor that was like actively being used for crypto related work and dev work. That was cool.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. And one of the things that they did was they were giving people like credits to build with Google. So a lot of crypto projects are built using Google's cloud services and different things like that. And so it was cool just to see, like you said, the collaboration of Google incentivizing developers and projects to come check out what they have. And like I said, they were giving people free credits to do that. And it wasn't like a, hey, look at these, this new Google smartphone or headphones. It was like we want to be the backbone of what you guys have going on. And so I thought that was really cool. And like I went to a Forbes dinner. And so again, Forbes, like now they're slapping their name on crypto. And they actually have a whole crypto arm, which is cool. But yeah, it's a Web3 arm.
Yeah, I'm interested. I got a lot of flack because I did a little coverage of that great piece they did about the zombie cryptos right before consensus. And everyone was like, Forbes isn't real journalism, right? And I was like, listen, pal, I get it. I know how Forbes works. But also, I have been really impressed with kind of the way the people they've gotten to cover it and the way they've gone about it, at least in the last year that I've been paying attention. I feel like they got a lot of people who've been here for a while and are entitled to opinions like that. So I'm interested I didn't know they really had a presence like that at events.
Yeah, and like tell me they're not a good journalist and or marketer if the amount of conversation that article invoked in the community,
True.
like, okay, don't call them a journalist, but they're damn good marketers because
Yeah, yeah. Real quick, we had a question from Machiste in the audience. Casey, did you see Dylan Abrascado's talk, or did you, Alex, see any about crypto the game and just generally? I'd be curious to know what you think about, like, we talk a lot about probably enterprise crypto, but some of the consumer crypto experiences like that. Are you familiar with it?
I did not get to see that one, so I'm not sure.
Are you hip to crypto the game?
I'm not.
Oh, okay. The TLDR is it's like Survivor, but make it crypto. It's an on-chain competition that has had 2 seasons so far where several people, last time it was 800, play a Survivor game. They vote each other off day by day by day after competing in challenges as tribes until only one remains. And those eliminated vote on the winner to receive a big pot of money. This time it was, I forget the amount, it was about $350,000 in each. And the interesting mechanic of it that makes it, at least this time, partially crypto, is they use tokens as game pieces. So when you want to play, you buy an NFT. And unlike Survivor, if you get injured and have to leave the island, you can sell your piece in the game. Or if you're eliminated, your token, because of the contract, is converted to a jury NFT. It no longer has the same status as a player NFT, but it becomes a vote in the game. So there's a hypothetical ending where a person who gets eliminated buys back in and plays it to the end. There's a hypothetical ending where a whale buys up all the jury votes and declares themselves the winner. And all the other kinds of interesting social speculative dynamics that are possible because tokens are part of the game now. That probably they will be in many different ways in Survivor and The Bachelor and whatever you name it. But it was wildly successful in terms of generating attention from people all over the crypto space and beyond, and is just a really cool proof of concept for how blockchain can enhance the reality experience for people who are playing, people who are partnering, people who are consuming.
Does anybody here know who runs that? Because I would love to reach out and be like, I will compete.
Yeah, I competed, dude. I was on season 2, and Dylan Abrascado is the guy who's the founder. You need to get on Warpcast if you want to talk to him.
I'm on Warpcast, however, Evan, you're not going to be happy about this. I had to use Alex's link.
Oh.
Yours didn't work. It didn't load. I hit the beacon link, and it didn't populate.
Okay. Well, Dylan did a big circuit, and he's probably tired of talking about it, but I had a DM going with him. I would like to get him on the show. He's on TikTok. He doesn't have 1,000 followers yet, but he has expressed an interest in coming on the show and talking to people about it. I think it's a great example. You don't even have to talk about crypto to explain how that kind of a thing is exciting and fun. But I'll make sure you get to season 3, man.
Perfect. I appreciate that.
What do you think about it, Casey? Do you think it's got potential? You think it's got legs? Are you going to compete?
I'll compete.
It's so fun.
I'm coming for you, Will. But
well, I'm ultra competitive, so any friendship we could have will be squashed.
Honestly, and the thing about crypto the game is it put the whole industry on hold. I mean, people were playing, everybody at Uniswap was playing, they were writing it off as business expenses. Coinbase people were playing, Jesse Pollock was playing, and people were basically, the meme around Twitter or, wherever you were, was like, people in the office at a meeting and me, like, on my phone playing crypto the game. Like, from pretty much, 11 a.m. Eastern until, 8 p.m., and folks in Asia are like waking up in the middle of the night to like do these challenges or participate in votes. It was, I don't know. It was cool for the amount of attention it generated and the way it built connections across the space. Nothing like it.
Yeah, that's super cool. I looked it up, and I'm definitely going to check it out. I was involved in a lot of the early games like Axie Infinity and Ether Orcs and that kind of stuff, but nothing like this. This is super cool.
What were you going to say?
Two things. Well, 3 things. One, Machiste down here was just saying that Dylan, actually also made the HQ trivia game. Me and Christina used to wait and play that every single day when the time came up. That was such a good fucking game.
I don't know he made it, but he definitely was on the team in an influential way for a number of years.
That is so cool. Second, I want to take this as a quick moment to live up to the promise I made yesterday. Yesterday was day 1. Today is day 2 of bullying Machiste. To start making video content. It can be faceless. You can change your voice. I don't care. But like, dude, you gotta start posting stuff. I need you to join the coalition, and I'm gonna bully you every single day until you do it.
Yeah, I'm nominating Machiste today for a build. Machiste, if you don't know him, Casey, is often Mike, MYK.E. He's on a lot of other platforms and is just a, first of all, hilarious guy. Second of all, great builder. Has launched what is probably my favorite consumer crypto product of the season at logadog.xyz. And the show is not sponsored by them, but it basically should be at this point because I shill it every chance I get. It's a hot dog eating contest on chain that uses crypto mostly in the back end. You can sign in with a Gmail and log the dogs you eat and compete against your friends. There's one guy who's trying to eat 69 hot dogs a month. I thought I was going to win. I was the front runner, and it's over for me pretty much. This guy, he's got like 29 in the month of June already. I'm toast.
That's
but it's
wild.
fun.
You guys should connect with the Costco hot dog guys. There was at Consensus. There's a meme coin that's Costco hot dog, and they were standing outside in their hot dog costumes, handing out free Costco hot dogs. So I see a potential partnership there.
Okay.
I don't know why I didn't think of that. I'm sure Machiste thought about it. I held Costco hot dog the day it came out and made a 3X and got out of it and have just since enjoyed the other. I think I also made 3X on Costco cookie with like $20. You know what I mean? Like, but I love the meme because people love that hot dog.
I remember I had people in my comment section ask me like, "Oh, what are your thoughts on like Costco hot dog?" And I was like, what? And I was like, immediately, I was like, I've looked this up. I know it's true, and I would so much rather it, instead of being a meme coin to speculate on, be a stable coin that's at $1.50.
Yeah.
Just like perpetually forever. I'm like, yeah. And people were like, "It's a stable coin. Its value's not going to go up." And I was like, no. I'm just saying what I wish it was.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that would be, just chef's kiss. Perfect.
That would be on there.
That would be great.
Casey, I didn't mean to sidetrack you with the question, but I think Alex had asked you, can you tell us more about your business? Because I'm not familiar with it either, and I heard you mention it.
Yeah, absolutely. So first, I just want to address something really quick. One of my followers said, "Where you been?" I apologize. I definitely went MIA from TikTok the past week, and it was just the event was so busy. I've been traveling. I'm down in Panama City, Panama now. So now we're back in action. We are. So I'm sorry for abandoning you for a week. I should have said something. So forgive me. Anyway, what is it that I do? So like I said, I'm a crypto educator. So my partner started the company in 2017. Like I said, I came on in 2021, and we are a crypto and DeFi education company. So we have a full a platform that's got self-guided e-learning that you can go through, as well as we have live classes that take place throughout the week. And we've got about 2,000 students in our community right now. And it's super fun. I mean, it's a great place. The conversations are like this. It's not, shilling stuff. It's true education. And really the purpose of it is to help people reduce their learning curve when they enter the space. And it kind of came from, all of the mistakes that we made along the way. So when you said having that experience in those years in the space, like, yeah, I've been burned every way that you can be burned in crypto. And so that's really my mission now, is to just help people avoid a lot of those pitfalls that I fell victim to when I was starting the space, like custodial investments and just bad tokenomics and shiny object syndrome and this and that, right? So those are the things that I'm just really out here to help people avoid when they're starting out.
Very cool. Very cool. And it's mostly it's mostly an online thing. Like you guys do events, you do forums, that kind of stuff. Do you do live stuff in person or online for now?
So we do have in-person events. We do a few meetups throughout the course of the year, as well as we have a mastermind every year. So we've got one coming up in August down here in Panama, actually, and they're super fun. Like last year, we rented this little private island for everybody, and we took these boats out to this island. It's beautiful, and it's a very conscious community too. So we had like meditations in the ocean together, and a lot of just really, really cool stuff that happens. So,
I mean, that sounds great.
Sounds like it's like the best fool ever.
Yeah, we're trying to do something similar. You know, we're getting around to really trying to build a community again around this all levels of learning experience at the Rise Up Morning Show. So we might have to get a pass and come see what you're doing and pay closer attention to it, because we
Yeah,
would
and if you
love
guys,
to
if
do
you ever need
IRL
help, let
stuff
me know.
too.
Yeah, I'm sorry. If you ever need help, let me know. I'm happy to help you guys out, because the point here is it's collaboration, not competition. Like, I want to
Totally.
see you guys spreading the same mission that I'm trying to spread, and that's really the goal here.
Totally. 100%. Well, and similarly, as we can help you, don't ever hesitate to ask, because that's what it's all about. Alex, are we killing these questions in the comments, or what? What do people want to know? What did they come here to ask?
There's several conversations going on right now.
I know. I saw something about conspiracy theories. Machiste is making great suggestions about pairing an Arizona T stablecoin with the Costco hot dog. I personally think a $5 footlong token that goes up over time when you least expect it would be helpful.
That gave me a good idea. So what if it starts at like the $5 footlong, and then after like a couple years, there's this weird like halving event that then turns it into like $6 6-inch, and they just like like the supply gets burned and cut in half, and then I don't know, something there, right?
Oh my god!
The meat potential for all of this stuff is just too good.
Yeah,
And
I said a Chipotle burrito token, which just the longer you hold it, the smaller it gets, would be great too.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody asked in the comments, when should I take profits on Bird? We could talk generally about taking profits on anything if you want, but I think you were about to say it, Alex. I'm sorry. There might be a lag on my end.
No, you're good. Yes, we should do that one. There was an ancient comment that was just about ton, and I know that it's fresh on the mind because there's been a lot of price action to the upside recently, which always prompts lots of questions. So in the vein of that, we should also talk about taking profits and not FOMOing into something when it's had a 60% green candle on one day. Because I know not is the one that everyone's asking about. And I'm just going to pull it up because I know that one did big things yesterday.
Yeah, and I was doing a bunch of research on Toncoin yesterday, as you guys know. But I was trying to buy Stone, which is right now the leading decentralized exchange on Toncoin, and I was unsuccessful in my attempts, and then I just got frustrated after already trying to do it, and ended up taking that money and just adding it to my base coin. But yeah, so if anyone's unaware with Toncoin, it was made by Telegram in 2018. 2020, it got sued by the SEC, and then in 2021, Newton, the company, took it over and started developing it, but in collaboration with Telegram. So it has connections into Telegram. It's going to add in a Telegram bot. Telegram's audience is at 9 million plus active users today worldwide.
Hey, Will, hold on just a second. Is it just me, or is Will's audio a little crispy? You know what I mean?
I think there's a little echo on Casey's side.
Oh, here.
Is the indication.
Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Will.
All good. Anyway, you helped me find my notes on this, so I'll just go through this succinctly.
Will, did you manage to nail down a methodology to acquire some ton for yourself? I know there were
not without doing the VPN to KuCoin, and then they have like a KYC or something too, and I'm just like I'm not gonna do it. And so I just ended up being like, okay, I still think Stone is a great opportunity. It's like a $20 million market cap. For actually, I have this really dope ratio that I ended up doing some analysis on. So StoneFi is the leading decentralized exchange on Toncoin. And so I was like, okay, the market cap of Toncoin is $16 billion. The market cap of StoneFi is 14.5 million. That means that StoneFi is 0.09% of the current market cap of Toncoin, right? So 0.09%, remember that. Because now we're going to compare that with Ethereum and Uniswap, Solana, Jupiter, Avalanche, and Trader Joe.
I like that.
Ethereum's market cap is 453 billion, and the market cap of Uniswap is 5.7 billion. That is 1.26% of Ethereum's market cap. Solana has a $75 billion market cap, Jupiter at $1.4 billion market cap. That's a 1.87% ratio there. And Avalanche, $14 billion market cap. Trader Joe, $168 million. That's 1.2%. So Joe to Avalanche, 1.2%. Jupiter to Solana, 1.87%. Uniswap to Ethereum, 1.26%. StoneFi to Toncoin, 0.09%.
Wow.
Which means that StoneFi at this exact moment is undervalued. It isn't close to the other percentages that the leading decentralized exchanges typically eat up and represent within the market cap of the blockchain that they are built on.
Undervalued at like a 12x, depending
Yeah.
on how you average those numbers together, like 12 to 15, we're talking.
Yeah, like StoneFi right now, today, in this
Wow.
exact moment, is heavily undervalued in that analysis. And I think part of the reason why is because it's such a pain in the ass for American investors to get their hands on. That's definitely why, which is why I was trying to see if I could get my hands on it now. Because it should be, at least a 10x, in my opinion, because Toncoin has a bigger market cap right now than Avalanche, and yet Trader Joe is $168 million market cap, and StoneFi is $14.5 million.
Did you make a video on that yet?
No, I haven't. This is all extra scoop for everybody in the live.
No, you got to make a video on that, and you got to call it. You got to give it a name. The Watson metric.
I got all these video notes to go. Oh wait,
Yeah,
there
but
aren't
you
no
should
notes.
do a video
Right.
just
Exactly.
on that 30 seconds, man. That was that as like a metric for comparison. That was simple. It was concise. It was. I
Yeah,
didn't think it was possible to be so beautifully. It was just great. It just blew my mind. It was so.
well, I should probably do a video just on that right now, just to put on people's radar screens, because I was gonna do it as part of one of my like deep dive videos that typically end up being like 7 to 10 minutes long. So I'll do that later. I'm a little busy today with being yelled at by lawyers.
By lawyers.
I think explaining how you value things to people is important too. So you're not just feeding them an answer, but you're explaining your thought process so that in the future they can kind of form their own thesis. So I love your breakdown, and I think it's really helpful for if you share that with people.
Oh, thanks,
Yeah,
Casey.
we often say it's the difference between what is a good investment, which is not a helpful question, and what is a good investment for me, whether you're talking about time, attention, capital, and then explaining how you got there. Then people can figure out, oh, that's a process I like, or oh no, it's not. I don't want to do that at all. But that was an easy metric. Pretty much anybody who has a calculator in hand can do that math. I like that a lot.
Which is all I'm capable of doing. So that's it. That's what I can do. That's how I try to help people. Just simple, basic math. Just one step. And then I have all the people that I follow on Twitter that have their own very intense models that I go, oh no, it's too much for me. I'm in the middle ground. But thanks, appreciate it. Yeah, I'll do a video on it later. And
then you had some other thoughts on it and some other metrics, yeah? You want to give us a couple other bullet points?
Well, that's the big thing with StoneFi. I mean, like, also, if I remember correctly, but I don't need to remember because I can just do it here. Tokenomics. Yeah, it has a capped supply, so similar to Bitcoin, StoneFi has a capped supply. There's also a token burn over time, but it's a very, very small token burn. It's 0.1% of all fees. So that is a deflationary supply over time. However, there's vesting schedules for investors, seed, pre-sale, and a number of other things that will be being released over the next year to 4 years. So like there will be some inflation, but the team seems to have done a pretty good job at like creating fairly long lockups and fairly long vesting. So that inflation of what's going to hit the market, I'm not too concerned with. And the team is fully on LinkedIn. The white paper is super detailed, which I like to see from a technical standpoint. And then also they're like, oh, and this is how you interact with it. You know, this is how I think we line up with our competition. Like it was like a really good, solid business plan, which was nice. So I really liked StoneFi, which is why I'd love to get my hands on some of it. And the other thing I love about StoneFi is because of Toncoin. And for the same, because I was trying to find another aerodrome. because I got Aerodrome. I found Aerodrome at 5 cents. I bought it at 9 cents, which I bought it at 5 cents. And I was trying to find another one. And Toncoin has a lot of the same pieces that Aerodrome has for the reasons why I bought. Because Aerodrome was the leading, it was showing itself to be a leader as a DEX on Base. Base with Coinbase, with all of their users in their smart wallet coming up, just made it seem like it was guaranteed to happen in my mind. With Toncoin, it's kind of similar because Toncoin has access to all the users on Telegram. There are over 900 million users on Telegram today. So, and there's like an easy onboarding level from Telegram users onto Toncoin. And I was like, okay, that's the same thing as like Coinbase to Base to altcoins on Base, Telegram to Toncoin to altcoin on Toncoin, or altcoins on Toncoin. Okay, that makes sense to me. Who's the leading DEX? It's competition right now between StoneFi and DDust, but StoneFi has twice as much. DDust has better
Growth,
APRs.
right?
It has better APRs, which is why a lot of people are going to it, because right now, with your not coin, you can get like 789% APR on DDust, which is dangerous. But, it gets the people excited, so money goes there. But the thing is StoneFi is also offering like 500% on not coin, right? So, take it as you will. Yeah, it's a lot. It's the earning potential on those right now are really high. But everyone who's here, that's usually because there's a lot of risk you're exposing yourself to, right? There's typically really high fees that are included, and there are in DDust. There are a lot of fees. Just peeling back the onion. And or there's like an incredibly inflationary supply of one of the tokens, and some other things too. So just be careful. And so right now it's competition between DDust and StoneFi, and I think StoneFi is more reasonable. And it's basically like the user interface is basically the same as like a Uniswap. It's exactly the same in my opinion. It's a carbon copy, so the user experience is nice. And I got sidetracked though, but basically, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, another thing about Toncoin too is I think the value will continue to rise as the rest of this bull market goes on. Because in October of 2023, they being the community, voted to lock up 25% of the total supply for 5 years into the Ton Believers Fund. So that's removing a lot of supply that could potentially hit the market. And yada, yada, yada. What else do we got here? They have great partnerships. Yada, yada, yada. Anyway, but basically the big thing to me was they have access to a bunch of users. 900 million on Telegram, easy to onboard. Who's going to use, like the decentralized exchange that's the leader is what's going to end up getting used. There's a burn feature where the more people use it, the more supply gets burned, price goes up. And then the last thing was, I had one other final thing I was going to mention, but it's escaping me, but I think I've spoken long enough about this. Yeah,
Thanks for the thorough but concise overview. Always helpful to hear it. I'm currently looking up how I can, swap myself into some. Casey, it looked like you were typing away too. What are your thoughts? Do you hold Ton, or have you checked into the network at all?
I do. I haven't spent a lot of time on the network, but I'm looking at Stone as he said that. And one thing, like the educator in me wants to come out and say while people are on here is pay attention to what he said about, he mentioned, okay, there's a 700% APR here, there's 500% APR here, but listen to the rest of what he said too. There are nuances that come with that, right? Like, for example, the not Ton LP, you would have gotten smoked in impermanent loss if you had like a not Ton. You're chasing after that 500%. You'd probably be holding all Ton at this point, and you started with not. So just be mindful of that. Sometimes for those of you that you don't want to monitor this stuff super regularly, you need to understand where the yield comes from. And so I guess that's my piece that I just wanted to make a point to say, and even take a second to explain where the yield comes from on this, because I don't know, when my audience is on here, I like to just make sure I'm saying that, because when people hear 700%, you get excited, and so you just want to jump into it. But I want you to understand the nuances. So like a lot of the pools too, the reason that they're paying such a high APR right now is because the liquidity is so low. And then what happens is when you're trying to get in and out of these positions, you're taking on crazy price impact because there's no money to get you in and out of the pool. As well as right now, the trading volume's insane because we just had this massive run up. So when I explain providing liquidity in the way that the fees are generated, I explain it like a pie, right? Where if all of us on this call have a pie, there's 4 of us here, and if there's a shit ton of fees coming in, and it's spread between the 4 of us, we're gonna get a big piece of the pie. But if the 100 people that are on this call all get into that same pool and the same amount of trading activities going on, your fees are going to go down and down and down and down. So when you see these 700%, don't think it's actually going to be 700% for the next year. And so again, just want people to be mindful of the nuances that go into it and understand it before just trying to dump your life savings into something that's not going to stick around. And again, also kind of the impermanent loss part of things can really, really destroy your position.
There are so many examples of exactly what Casey is talking about right now in crypto protocol and yield earning history. It's very easy to find proof of concept case studies to show exactly what happens with these things that offer crazy APYs like that. And those are usually the ones that then end up trending on TikTok for being just an absolute dumpster fire eventually.
Yeah, like, and that's going back to the, being in this space for a while. When DeFi first came out, like, man, we had all of the Time Wonderland and Olympus DAO and all of those that were paying there were so many, Hector and WagMe, there were a million of them that were paying like 30,000% per year. And everybody's like, I'm going to be rich. And then the tokenomics were quite literally so inflationary that you weren't making money on a 30,000% APY. Like,
Right.
Oh my God. That's so good.
Yeah, it was nuts.
No,
And don't hesitate ever, Casey, or people in the audience, to either explain or ask. We say a lot of inside trading where what the hell is impermanent loss? People who are hearing about this stuff for the first time are in our audience too, and a lot of people right now want to know as they come to crypto, what is staking? How can I earn passive income? What is yield? And these are totally new concepts. Like you, I was like dipping my toes into understanding what this was in like 2020, 2021, when a lot of these products were coming to fruition. And it was like drinking from a fire hose. So if that's you in the comments and you're like, I want to learn this stuff, but I just feel like I got hit by a bus, let us know and we can slow down. But thank you for taking that opportunity because we definitely can do a better job of letting people know not just the risks, the rewards, but what exactly it is that's actually happening in this box that we call DeFi. It's not like a little green man in there is, doing magic with your money, but it seems like that. So
one other good way to think about it too is just to look at the thing that you're interested in and just ask yourself, okay, so you're making some sort of a case to yourself as to why you should invest in XYZ and why it deserves an XYZ percentage of your portfolio, or however you quantify these things for yourself. And if part of that conversation that you're having with yourself also includes, well, all I need is for the token to go to price, bleh, then, that should be your first giant red flag. Because if I had $1 for every time I saw a tweet or a post or a comment or something about if it goes to a penny, if it goes to $1, if it whatever, I wouldn't need to invest because I'd be a gajillionaire. So
yeah.
If I find myself telling myself that, like, all I need is for this token to go to price X, then I'm immediately way less interested than I was before.
In fact, can we slow down and just say, if you had to explain what staking is, what would you say?
Yeah,
I tend to say, it gives velocity to money, but that's not very helpful. Can we give a more helpful definition?
Yeah, I'll take a crack at it, but after hearing how succinct and concise Casey's explanation of how DeFi works, I'm now very worried. I'm like, oh no! So how I would describe it to Plike, who had the question on, like, I don't understand staking. I don't really kind of get it technically. Basically, I view it as wait, Mac, I've been replaced by Casey. Basically, I just view it as like it's an incentive system, right? It's an incentive system to get people to take their money and put it into liquidity pools, provide governance and security. because in a proof of stake crypto, the more decentralized kind of these like staking pools are, right? These big pools of that staked crypto, the more secure the network is from potentially being, taken over and having malicious acts on it, right? So staking is an incentive system to get people to create various liquidity pools, which increases security. So that's it. It's a reward to people to incentivize them to increase security of the blockchain. Is how I view it, really. If you're just kind of trying to understand, like, why are they even doing this? That's the main reason.
Yeah. Welcome, Mac.
I don't think that was bad at all, Will.
The gang's all here.
You made me nervous.
And then there were 5.
Yep.
Yeah, Mac, the question that we're answering right now is, what is staking? For somebody who's just coming into DeFi, just starting to understand you can earn passive yield on this crypto stuff, might be ready to FOMO in. Could you explain it simply and helpfully? Like, what is it? How do you make money on it? What would you say? Oh, hey, baby. Hey, Phoebe.
I guess it would depend on who I'm talking to. If I'm just talking to a normie, I just say it's kind of like, it's like the interest that your bank would give you. They take your money and then, can kind of give you a little bit of interest in return. If I'm talking to somebody who knows a little bit about blockchain, I would just say that staking, blockchains need to kind of keep the network up and running. And so what they do is they delegate node operators to do that. But the node takes time and money and energy to run. So basically the way you can contribute by that is by delegating your stake to that node operator so that they can help keep that. And they get a share of the profits of the coin, and then because you delegated part of your stake, you get some of that as well.
Well said. Casey, what would you say?
Sorry, I keep muting so that you don't get the echo and the feedback.
Okay.
Yeah, so, I mean, you guys nailed it, both of you. There's not really much to add here, but I think oftentimes people confuse, the word staking gets thrown around loosely a lot, right? So whenever we're providing yield on decentralized exchanges, it's staking. And if we're providing yield on providing our liquidity on a centralized exchange, it's staking for yield, and like Coinbase Earn and Crypto.com Earn, or when you're actually delegating to a validator, it's staking. So that word gets used a lot. And so for most people that are on here, like, staking is something that, generally speaking, people means you're earning a yield on something by doing something. But again, the actual nuances of it can be different. So like for to what Mac was saying, like in a proof of stake blockchain, there is cryptocurrency or capital that's required to secure the network. That is their stake, right? And that's how validators can have the opportunity to validate blocks, and how and then in return, they're rewarded for that, and that's how new crypto is brought into circulation in proof of stake blockchains. And then on the decentralized exchange side of things, you can provide liquidity, and it's really yield farming is more what you're doing than staking. But when you provide your liquidity on a decentralized exchange, you're making a more liquid and more efficient decentralized exchange where assets can be traded one for another. And so I often like to use real world examples when I'm explaining these concepts, because it makes it a little bit easier. So think about, like, why would you go to TD Ameritrade to buy your stocks? Well, it's because they have the stocks and because they have the cash. So it's a two-part system, right? You've got, if you want to buy Apple stock, you need to trade your cash for the stock. And if you want to sell your Apple stock, you need to give them the stock and they'll give you cash. It's a two-part system. They've got both. Where on a decentralized exchange, we, in this peer-to-peer financial system, can become that liquidity provider in the middle. And we can go provide our Ethereum and USDC, so that if somebody wants to buy ETH with USDC, they can. And if they want to sell their ETH for USDC, they can as well. But instead of TD Ameritrade making the fees, we make the fee. We make the little transaction fee that people pay to do it. So, yeah, I mean, perfect explanations all around, and just wanted to add a little bit to it.
Can I ask the crowd something?
Sure.
First of all, hi Casey, great meeting you this past week. Will, we still got to meet IRL, so we'll make it happen sometime.
Yeah.
But who was here for the glory days of the staking platforms like Celsius and BlockFi?
Oh, yeah.
So
I used BlockFi.
Yeah,
What?
me too.
Yeah, I used it.
me too. I even got the card.
Oh, damn. I thought about getting the card. Yeah.
Did you guys get your money from the
Go it all?
bankruptcy claim?
No, I pulled my money off of it because I saw the writing on the wall, and I told everybody to get out. And then I had a friend who lost their money on BlockFi and on Celsius, and I was just screaming at her. I was like, "What are you doing? Get off!" And she's like,
Can I just say that, like, here's the thing about Ponzi schemes, right? The people who are in early on Ponzi schemes make great fucking money. Okay? Like, you have to understand that. It's not like everyone loses in a Ponzi. If you can get in and get out in a Ponzi, then you're doing great. I wouldn't say that these were all Ponzi schemes. They were definitely house of cards, but I made so much money on Celsius and Nexo. And I was definitely singing their high praises. I never became an affiliate. And the thing that always haunts me, though, is that when I went to the, I think it was Bitcoin Miami, the first one, I met Alex Mashinsky. And I asked him a question about security, of how he maintains that everyone on Celsius keeps their, money safe. And the only answer he had for me is, no one has ever lost money on Celsius. I was like, danger, So, yeah, those are the good old days, but it did all come crashing down, unfortunately. But like early days of Matic was 16% APY. So, you put in Matic, especially when it was at like a few cents, and you get 16% on that. A lot of these were like double-digit returns. So I did a lot of those. I don't know. Did you guys only did BlockFi though?
Yeah, I only did BlockFi. I had some of my Ethereum over there, and I had some of my Bitcoin over there, and then pulled all that off. Yeah.
BlockFi was the more vanilla of the options.
Definitely.
There is a company that's still going strong, and that's Ledn. It's like Lend, but with the D and N switched. And they have never had any issues because they've always had a proof of reserves thing on their website. And I've kind of applauded their steadfastness and all of that. But yeah, if you wanted to check that out, you might be able to earn some yield on your Bitcoin.
Yeah, I used to just use all of the Kraken stuff before they took it away from us. And now I've noticed that, they're both them and Coinbase is kind of starting to make a little bit of a Dude, shut up. This little rat is just running around.
Is Coinbase still, or Kraken still actively being sued by the SEC, or?
That's a great question. I haven't heard anything about it in a long time.
So they are engaged. And if you want to get caught up on it, I highly recommend. It might be a little dated now, as new as it is. 2 months ago, Jake Chervinsky, who is the chief legal officer at Variant Fund, did an awesome podcast with Laura Shin at Unchained, and he talks about Coinbase, he talks about Kraken, he talks about the consensus lawsuit versus the SEC. He hits all the big ones. He talks about Tornado Cash, and I have never found a conversation about law as riveting or easy to understand and helpful as like this was. So Unchained, I'll send it to you if you want to hear it. I honestly don't remember what the state of the Kraken lawsuit was, though. If I'm being honest,
I haven't heard anything.
It was a good TLDR, and it was taught me some stuff,
I think,
and kind of fired me up a little bit.
On the topic of things that the SEC is trying to get done, it's not going anywhere right now, and so it's just going to stall and peter for as long as they can possibly keep kicking that can down the road. I mean, how long have we been kicking Ripple down the road without a meaningful bit of progress or any resolution? I mean, they're just racking up names on their card that they're not going to ever be able to do anything about.
So, but and I just looked it up. The TLDR in Kraken is they just did another in May filing to dismiss. That's kind of been their thing lately. Is like, you can't bring anything against us, so get this thing out of here. And it looks like the hearing to discuss their move to dismiss, the next one is set for 2 p.m. June 12th. So we'll get some news on that in about a week.
The craziest thing is when they sued Gemini.
Dude.
I was like, if there were ever a shining example of like golden boys who were trying to play by the rules, it's Winklevi.
Well, and honestly, I think Uniswap too. I think Uniswap was really clean, man.
No, but Gemini was different because the reason when that lawsuit or when the announcement or the lawsuit or the Wells notice or whatever it was came out for Gemini, it was in direct response to Gemini sending them requests for clarification. They're like, hey, we're trying to do this like earn thing. can you tell us how to do it legally? And then they would never answer. And there was a lot of publication on like their blog and on social media about just like how we made yet another attempt. Here's what we sent. We asked for X, Y, and Z, whatever. We heard nothing in return, or we got this kind of like, vanilla copy paste kind of response. And then all of a sudden, bam, lawsuit. And it was just like, where the fuck did this come from? It's like, imagine going to the police station and like having, the thing you're concerned about, just being like, hey, I'm concerned about doing this legally. Can you guys help me? And then ignoring you. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And then like a week later, they just arrest you. That's exactly what happened in Gemini.
And I could say too that like, if anyone out there, if you have an interest in starting a crypto project, you can talk to the SEC yourself. I've done it. So find a way to set up a call with them. I did that, and I spoke to 2 guys, and I can't tell you how ineffective these dudes were, like at just explaining the rules or anything. They basically just said like, well, it's a Howey test. You gotta look it up. I was like, are you kidding me? I'm asking you for like clear guidelines on if this is gonna break the law or not. And
now Google it, bro.
Reflected their current policy, which is like, wait and see, and if we come after you, then you're fucked.
I think all that phone call did was alert them to your presence and get you on a list.
I know.
Just gave you like a Twitter response of do better, and then just like pushed you out the door.
Gary's got your picture on his wall now.
Yeah, I know. A little dartboard.
Ugh.
Yeah.
So
anyways, bearish.
Bearish on the SEC. Short the SEC.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeez.
Yeah, can we do that? Can we do the old Michael Burry on the SEC?
Dude, I think that the closest we can get right now is just that every time Gary posts, we just ratio the fuck out of him, because that's exactly what happens whenever the poor intern who runs his social media account ever says anything. It's just, dude, the comments on Gary Gensler's Twitter are very similar to the comments on Ted Cruz's Instagram. And like those 2 comment sections just make me immeasurably happy. That's a cathartic experience, just reading through those comment sections.
Yeah, good company for them. Alex, what are some of the other questions we got here? And while you're looking at it, let me just reset the room to say Tuesday is panel day at the Rise Up Morning Show. If you have a crypto creator that you know, like, and trust, and you want to see them in conversation, send them our way. And let us amplify their platform, because this is your place for helpful news, commentary, answers to your crypto questions, where you're not going to hear somebody try and sell you some token, pump their bags. People will say, I don't know, if we don't know. And we're always happy to slow things down and help you feel like you're on the inside with us right here on the Rise Up Morning Show. We're live Monday through Thursday. We've got the Rise Up newsletter, which summarizes the show every week. All the links, tips, tricks for people who can't tune into a live show 4 days a week, because we get it. We got the episodes going to YouTube. We've got the Discord community where you don't have to pay a darn thing to jump in the general chat and say, hey, does this link look like a scam? And where everyday people like you, like me, can learn about crypto without feeling like someone is going to just talk past them, shame them, sell them something. That's what we're here for. All these people are happy to help you. The folks who are trying to sell you something, they are not your teachers. All we're going to sell you today is an awesome Rise Up Morning Show coffee mug that can be yours if you go to the riseupmorningshow.com. But you don't have to buy our mug.
Dude, we are so short on ghouls. We need more ghouls.
We need more ghouls. I'm bullish on ghouls.
Kyle.
I texted Kyle and told him that we need more ghouls. And so he is alerted and engaged, and I just need to send him portraits.
Yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, the ghoul is what we lovingly call this logo, which looks bad in my ring light, but who's got his eyes taped up and coffee going into his veins for the Rise Up Morning Show. Everybody on the morning show gets a ghoul. So it could be
surprise Casey.
Yeah, Casey could have a ghoul. They're
Yeah.
anything but flattering.
Like Evan, when you were saying, if we don't know something, we'll admit that we don't know. Like, for instance, I don't know when I got replaced. Like, did that happen at Austin, when Alex and Casey were talking, or was it a recent thing?
No, Mac, you're first in my heart, man. You're Mr. Faceless Labs. You're Mr. Faceless Labs. You got replaced, though. The second you showed up as a squirrel.
At least I know Casey. At least it wasn't some just stranger, and I see
Mac, when you came on, I said Max, and somebody was like, his name's Mac.
Yeah, it's an inside joke. Did you tell everyone that joke?
I didn't. I was gonna I was gonna let you have that.
Yeah. So long story short, we're at a Belgian beer bar, and if you didn't know, Belgian beers pack a punch. They're like 10% alcohol by volume. So
Yeah, I had no idea, and I'm too deep wondering why I'm like on the wall,
Yeah.
and then I look at the board and it was 10.5%. I was like, oh, that explains it because I just had 5 beers.
yeah.
Also,
But-
can I preface this? I just told my sobriety story. Can I just, first of all, I wasn't drinking Belgian beer, and when I was there, I said, "Can I get a water?" And the lady said, "No, Belgian beer." Is there anything else? And she said, "Belgian beer."
That's so funny. You know they've had to deal with that question a million times, so they're just so desensitized to it and over it. But yeah, anyways, long story short, Casey and I had this really great conversation. She was telling me her story, and we were just kind of talking war stories in crypto and otherwise. And then at the end of it, I think I called you like Carly or something like that, and then you just looked at me like you ape. It's good. I was like,
So Max was born. I said, "All right, well, it was really nice to meet you, Max."
yeah.
That's okay. I remember one time. That's fantastic. I remember you, Mac. Do you remember the party? We were at Bitcoin Miami, I think, and we were at the Penthouse, and we were at this this party with just an eclectic mix of folks. Some people who were like real estate investors, some people who were founders, some people who were trying to raise money, some people who were just there for the vibes, and I was in this conversation with a woman named Katie Evans. Katie Smart, who's one of the smartest people that I had met at this conference, bar none. She is head of marketing for Swarm, which is like a compliant DeFi protocol. And she's English. So instantly, your perception of her IQ is like through the roof. And I'm in this conversation with her about regulatory compliance and DeFi. And Mac leans over and he taps me on the shoulder and he goes, hey, he said, and we'd been drinking, I think. So it was like that point in the evening. He said, this guy just called ETH and just burst into laughter. And to be fair, it was kind of funny. But the way you said it and the glee that it brought to your face, this woman was like, I was like, it's my co-founder. She's talking about like, staking protocols that are licensed on these exchanges. And, this guy's laughing about ETH. And I was like, that's my guy, though.
That's how I make people feel comfortable, dude. I say just shit at the perfect moment, and it just locks them in. It endears them to me.
And that was kind of the first time that the three of us had gotten together. And, what I love about the diversity, even though we're a couple of white guys, I love the fact that someone looks at me and they're like, he might ask me for money. And someone looks at Alex and they're like, oh, probably a helicopter mechanic. And then they look at Mac and they're like, this guy, he's like a guy I can hang. You know what I mean? We check a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I'm glad I can fill the diversity card today. Here is.
Oh my God.
Thanks, You're really elevating the show today. I appreciate it.
Yes, I have to hop off pretty soon, but I wanted to get you guys' opinion on the story that was dropping all over my Twitter yesterday, which was the $500 billion in unrealized losses in banks, and apparently like 63 U.S. banks are in danger of potentially being insolvent. And I hadn't had a chance to dive into it yet because I only saw I saw the tweets, and I've gotten in trouble of seeing tweets and posting stuff. So then I tried to go find some articles, and I couldn't find one from a great source last night. But it's been a little bit of time since. I don't know if you guys have had a chance to kind of dive into it. Because they're unrealized losses, right? Like, it's not like they're notes that have matured yet, So I was just curious to see if you guys took a look into it. You have any takes, any extra info to share on that story?
I have nothing helpful to add to this, but I did see it, and I put it on my list to look at today. And I just wanted to say that for whatever it says about how I get my news right now, the only thing I've seen about this whole event was Wall Street Bets posting a meme of the Urukai front that's like kidnapped Mary and Pippin, just screaming, "Bank runs are back on the menu, boys."
Oh my God.
That's the only thing I've seen about it. And I was like, that looks like a news story that I should probably dig into. And I bookmarked that tweet as my jumping off point.
Oh my God.
And so I just want you guys to know the caliber of research that's coming out of my corner of the show, prompted by Lord of the Rings memes.
God, a meme is worth 1,000 words, isn't it?
It is. Okay.
I don't have any update on it, Will. I literally am hearing about it now.
Yeah. Same.
Well, I got the update I needed, which is that bank runs are back on the menu, boys.
Runs are back on the menu, boys.
Now I have to sell everything.
Casey, do you have an update on it? Have you looked into
I was
it?
not gonna also add anything meaningful to this. I'll say, as much as I love to chat about the banking crisis, I do have a meeting at 8:30 that I have to jam for. So thank you so much for having me today. I appreciate everybody welcoming me to the show, and hopefully I'll be back. And I want to have you guys on mine as well. So
We would
thank
love that.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Nice
for
chat. Nice
everything you
meeting you
brought to
guys.
the table.
likewise.
Thanks,
See you
Casey.
guys.
I did see. So there's been a few things, maybe kind of semi-related, but of course, yesterday one of the big stories was like the stock exchange glitch that showed like Berkshire Hathaway and a couple other companies down 95+%.
A lot of memes about that.
Oh my, the memes over the last 2 or 3 days have just been brilliant. And as Mac knows, I achieved spiritual nirvana over the weekend during my travels through various airports and flight delays and cancellations. That I spent most of that time with Mac. Actually,
It is through suffering that we find meaning in our life.
yes. So I've really just embraced meme culture way more heartily with all of this, and it brought me a weird sense of calm, because like I think that I used to be a person who would have seen a story like, okay, Berkshire's reading 95% down, and he wasn't the only company. There was a couple others. Not to mention like enforcement action and like congressional intervention being taken against Roaring Kitty for just talking about the GME position, when we have Congress people, like just participating in absolutely just blatant insider trading on a regular basis, and then those same people turn around and are going after Roaring Kitty. And it was just like all of this stuff like happening that would have signaled to me, like things are on fire. Ralph on the bus, I'm in danger kind of thing. And now I'm just like, dude, the memes for the next week are going to be so gas. And I'm so excited.
I just had no idea that there was a thing such as the problem bank list. I'm reading this article that says the FDIC also says that the number of lenders on its capital P problem, capital B bank, capital L list. It's a proper list. It's got capitalized letters. Could you imagine waking up one day and finding out you're on the problem bank list?
I also wanted to address something that you said in your story, Alex. And I don't know about you guys, but we've all been in crypto for a while, and you guys in the chat, I'm curious to see how many cycles you've been through. But I tell people, like, whenever bad shit happens to me, I say I'm not worried about it. Like, I don't care. Nothing can possibly hurt me worse than crypto has hurt me for years, like day after day. Like I say I'm undisappointable, and I honestly do believe that people getting involved in crypto is healthy, because you just learn how to lose so much, I think it's important. I think everyone needs to learn how to just get their dick knocked in the dirt over and over and over again, and eventually you're just like, do I even need it anymore? Just leave it there. And that's basically what happens. So I don't know if you guys feel that. I know that there's a lot of like big people on Twitter and TikTok and everywhere that like after they've been in crypto for so long, like you can see the quality of their posts just have this kind of air of like, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They just they shit post more than they post value. Like Pentoshi is a perfect example of that. That dude has got some real skills. He's on Twitter. He's got like 800,000 followers. I think his username is Europung, Peng, like penguin. But yeah, man, it's like you stay in this game long enough and you just become desensitized to everything. Kind of like how doctors are when they get out of med school, or residency, I should say. They've seen so much death and carnage that like they're just not really affected by it anymore. So
Yeah, and like that makes you a better doctor, and it's the same thing for making you a better investor. Because like when I first got into crypto in 2017, I bought and I was like, I don't know, at the time, maybe I invested like 10 grand and rode it up to like $250,000. And I was like, it's gonna go up forever. And then just rode all the way back down to like $3,000, like way lower. And like, I didn't sell a damn thing. It was one of those bag holders all the way up to first cycle, typical first cycle. And ever since then, it was just like nights of me refreshing my portfolio and like being stressed out and all that. And then afterwards, I then got to see my next cycle and I did much better and all that kind of stuff. But like that emotional turmoil and stress and PTSD, now I'm just like a ship captain holding a ship, like riding tsunami waves. And I'm just like, well, the sea's pretty calm today, isn't she?
Yeah.
Having a good time with it. And you just like become way less emotional in your decision making, and like it's just so much better. You really got to get like your dick kicked in. And I think like philosophically in life too. I've looked at like my nieces and like anyone who I knew who was like below the age of 24, and I'm like, you're not a person yet. I'm like, you're not a person yet because you haven't like gotten out of the college bubble if they went to college and gotten into the real world and just started getting like beaten down by the workforce for a year to understand like where you actually fit in the world and how the world works. Like now you have a year of pain under your belt. Now you're a person. Like it's just a philosophy that I have. But no, it totally makes you got to get your dick kicked in crypto, and it makes you a better investor. But I think there are so many benefits for like so many life things afterwards. It's just a shame you have to get those benefits from like lessons learned painfully.
It's also draws attention to the fact that it really highlights how easy the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. And I don't want to make this into like a social stance, but if I'm rich, like I'll say this, like I've tried day trading and trading in the stocks and just crypto investing in general, right? If you have a very small pot of money to play with, you really have to be right and consistently a lot in the beginning. And that is very, very hard. Whereas if you're a millionaire, right, you can just throw thousands of dollars at bullshit coins, just pass them out like, poker chips. Yeah. And if one of those hits, then it makes up for the other 9 or 10 or 20, that did it. And then that's how, you can keep doing it. Like imagine Bezos or Elon, like they could put millions of dollars into one of these shit coins and it does 100x. It's like that makes up for the 99 that did it, So.
Well, and I often say, somebody in the comments was talking about that. I feel like it's only for millionaires. I think that's indicative of maybe you're over leveraged, you're doing too much. The older I get here, the more time I spend here, the more and more simplified the approach gets too. Not only am I unfazed by stuff, but I'm paying attention to less stuff. I hear about stuff. I don't feel the need to buy everything.
Yeah.
Over time, I buy less. I hold less. I only invest in plays that I have the highest conviction in. And as my money to play with grows, it gets easier to throw stuff. But if you're just starting out, and especially if you're like a low net worth individual trying to grow your wealth, I would say probably the better thing to do is to invest your time, your attention, your money capital in stuff that you have high conviction in. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think it's a good deal to hold more tokens than you can pay attention to. Yep. And it's probably not going to matter. If you're playing that game like Mack is saying, you're going to put $10 into everything. Well, is that really as good as putting your $100 into something you absolutely think is going to do, a 3x or whatever? I think a lot of people are best served by holding something like Bitcoin for a little while and then trying out a staking protocol and then buying some ETH and allowing their gains to accumulate before they try and spread that money too thin. Because money is like a seed. You got to plant it. You got to water it. If you only have a little bit of water, you can't grow a whole garden. You got to grow one plant first.
Do you guys have a crypto that you kind of recommend to somebody that's like might have a little bit more ROI than Bitcoin, but still rock solid foundation?
Yep. Oh, I mean, yes, I got to hop off right now. Great question though, but
go get your lawyers.
Say it before you go.
Fantastic shirt. I don't know if that's Turtle School or if that's King Kai School or if that's the School of Whis, but that Dragon Ball Z reference is phenomenal. So big fan.
Peace.
Yeah.
See you, brother.
Bye, Will.
I think that's a great question. I think that right now I would have. So if the question is strong conviction, good foundation, solid project that probably has some better ROI than Bitcoin, I don't think this is going to surprise anyone. My answer is probably kind of boring because I would probably say like Solana and Avalanche for two different reasons. And within those, on Solana, I would probably say Jupiter. is like my leader right now, just because that's where the users are. That's the one that has the better experience. They're skunking the competition, and everything that goes through Solana is going to touch Jupiter. So if Solana continues to do what Solana is just dominating at, and Mac, you've heard me say it, but like my biggest takeaway from consensus is that Solana is winning and it's not even close. And everyone else is just like trying to emulate their marketing and messaging right now. And that's the part that matters here is, can you communicate with your people effectively? If no, you're toast. And if yes, then you're killing it. And then within Avalanche, I think that they just picked, in my humble opinion, I believe that they made a good strategic decision in trying not to be a general all-purpose ecosystem that is just going to take everything. And they picked like a niche, and they've attracted some really exciting projects to build there, and they are supporting them and incentivizing them to keep building. And they're, giving tools and equipment and money, liquidity to the communities that are then going to use those projects. And I'm talking about gaming. So between those, because that's the one niche that Solana has really seemed to be kind of like, okay, we can, yeah, sure, there's games, but like, is it our giant focus? No, the giant focus on Solana is finance and payments and DEXs and DeFi and et cetera, that kind of stuff. And then over on the Avalanche side is gaming. So for those two, that's probably where I'm at. The biggest game, the one I'm the most excited for, is Shrapnel. They have a token. I honestly couldn't tell you jack shit about the Shrapnel token. All of the Shrap that I have, I've gotten from participating and following them on Twitter and engaging on their posts and dropping wallet addresses in comment threads that were giving away Shrap, and getting an airdrop for sending them some fan art, that kind of stuff. So I haven't spent a penny on it, and I have a pretty not insignificant little stack of Shrapnel accessories and paraphernalia.
Okay, we're straying though. That's 4 coins. So what? But
Yeah. The question is, what would you tell somebody aside from Bitcoin?
Yeah.
So I muddied the water. I meant to say that Solana and Avalanche, and if I had to say something that's not the layer one's main coin, then I would say Jupiter on Solana and Shrapnel on Avalanche. Sorry.
So let me. I don't disagree with what you said hypothetically, but I would answer the question by going to the umbrella, because there's a difference between like who knows what could happen with Solana tomorrow or with Jupiter tomorrow that could change that answer. It's theirs to lose. I agree with it, and I agree with your assessment of AVAX and like a token on that platform too. But I feel like maybe a more helpful answer that is the same thing would be layer one tokens, who are networks like Solana, like Avalanche, like anybody who is building a networking ecosystem where lots of crypto development will take place, that is getting attention, whose token is going up in value over time, and therefore any leading project in that ecosystem. And the farther away you get from that like foundation, because that's what crypto is at its foundation, it's encrypted networks, peer-to-peer networks doing stuff online. And so that's what the layer one tokens represent: Bitcoin, Ether, Solana, AVAX. And if the networks have users and attention, then presumably the assets that represent those networks will go up in value, and are more likely to go up in value than any one particular like lemonade stand on a street in the country of those networks. Like, we're going to need highways tomorrow more than we're going to need your mom and pop store. That's the analogy I would make. I would say look for another layer one network that you believe in, and then also somebody building something there that seems valuable to the people who live on that network, whether it's a leading game on AVAX or a leading DeFi protocol on Sol.
If you had to pick though, if somebody's
at this moment in time, I would say Solana and something happening there. But I would say you should be able to look past the forest and the trees. Don't get so attached to one bag, one ecosystem, one place because it's hot right now. Understand that that is an example of this meta play, which is networks and things being built there.
Yeah.
Okay, real quick, can I give you one more thing?
Yeah, sure.
Mac, you weren't here for this, but Will had a really good metric to exemplify this. He was talking about DEXs on layer 1 networks. So layer 1 networks, they're these crypto networks like Solana, like Avalanche, like Base. Base is a layer 2. But it's a network, and DEXs are decentralized exchanges, the places people go to move their money around on those networks. I'm talking to people like Galactic in the comments who are like, I just lose money on this stuff. Every network is going to need a decentralized exchange that facilitates the movement of money, that gives velocity to people's money and attention on these new networks. They're connectors, they're nodes, they're highways. And he gave us a metric, Mac, which was the leading DEX on a couple of different blockchains, the ratio of market cap. Uniswap to ETH. Uniswap is 1.26% of ETH's market cap. Jupiter is 1.87% of Sol's market cap. Trader Joe is 1.2% of Avalanche's market cap. So like 1 to 1.5% is what we're looking at for these leading DEXs on blockchain networks. He was using the example of Ton, which is big lately, and its leading DEX, StoneFi. Guess how much of the market cap StoneFi represents right now on Ton? 0.09%. So if Ton Network, which has got a lot of attention lately and is going to have a lot more users, needs a DEX, and StoneFi is the leading DEX right now, but it's only 0.09% of the market cap compared to the 1% that Uniswap is, that Jupiter is, that Trader Joe is, it's got almost 12 to 15x room to grow. It's undervalued big time. That is like a high conviction, easy, low risk way for me to apply that thesis that I've just unpacked for you. To say, hey, where would I put my money? I would put it in StoneFi. If it's going to be the Uniswap or the Jupiter or the Trader Joe of its network, it's got a ton of room to grow. And as long as there's attention there, that would be a safe place for me to put my money. Or an easy place for me to build conviction that it's a safe place to put my money. I was like, bro, good research.
Yeah, I like that. For the record, I would say Solana too. My barber asked me this question. He's like, I don't know, man. And I told him, I was like, dude, it depends on what you want. He's like,
I love that so much.
I was like, yeah,
that's such a bullish statement.
Bitcoin is going to be the safest, but you're not going to make as much potentially as something that's a lower market cap. And so I was like, all right, well, dude. But he just kept asking me. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? I was like, dude, just put your money in Solana and go away. You know what I mean? Like, should be able to at least get a 2x from these prices, you know? But yeah, the thing I feel like Avalanche is now synonymous with gaming. So what worries me about that, I won't buy any more AVAX because its lot is so deeply cast with the gaming narrative. So if the gaming narrative is not hot, then it won't be either, in my opinion. Not to say that gaming won't take off, but it is kind of cyclical, you know? Whereas like Solana has just been powerful no matter what the season is because there's other stuff that's being built on it.
Matt, can I say one of the reasons I love you and started following you and continue to hang out with you is because you are so good at just distilling it and simplifying it. Alex and I both, we get so far into the weeds. He wants to give you a specific example and really unpack it. And I want to go like deeply conceptual and from the top down explain why. And Mac, you're the guy who's like, just buy some Solana. It'll probably do a 2x.
Yeah.
Call me if you have any questions. Like, I really love and appreciate that about you.
Thanks.
Because it's a gift, man.
Yeah.
And he speaks Chinese. Yeah, and weren't you telling who were you on a call with? You were saying it was like 3 white guys and we all speak Mandarin.
At the conference, yeah, I met this dude who's been living in China for 10 years. Like, no way. Like the thing with living in China is like it's like seeing a buddy who was in the war with you, you know? And I know that probably sounds terrible to anyone who was in actual war. So I don't any soldiers.
We'll let you say it today.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
But you know, I've always said there's 2 types of people in this world. People who can live in China and people who can't. And I was the latter. And like China, I love it and I've missed it so much since I've been there, but dude, when I was there, it was a dark place. Like it's, you know, there's a lot of things that are different in China.
What years did you live there again?
In total, like 2 years, but I was traveling on and off from 2000 and, 2010 to 2015. 2014, 2015, I was there for the whole year.
But when you lived there, that was your graduate school time. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's wild. It's a great place to visit. I always recommend people go there because it's unlike anything else you've seen, and the clubs are incredible. But living there, it's like we really do take our freedom of speech for granted here, and that's just you live without that, and anyways, I don't need to get into it because it's a deep topic, but
Sure.
yeah. So to get back to the point, this guy spoke Chinese, and then I met the other guy who was also a white guy, and he spoke Chinese as well. So I was like, man, we should just get together and just go to a bar and just yuck it up and
Just speak Chinese, man.
Yeah.
You know the meme of the little like preacher wearing a sweater vest that's just sitting there with the eyeballs going back and forth.
Yeah.
It happens to me pretty much once a time that I get together with Mac and we're like out in public, is that something happens where Mac and some other person realize that they both speak Chinese, and then they start talking, and my dumbass is just sitting there just like. So this was that exact moment, him and the Aether guy standing there talking, and then it was just like, where are you based? Oh, Hong Kong. No shit. And then of course, a beautiful friendship blossomed.
Yeah.
I wanted to say really quick, so Mac and I have to jump in a few minutes, but there's a lot of discussion in the comments about XRP right now, and it's not really directed at us necessarily. There's kind of a lot of people talking about it and discussing it, and I actually had XRP is one of those things that I keep like a running opinion on, and I've had like a slight revision, or maybe not revision, but addition to my XRP opinion that I wanted to share really quick.
Is that how they feel about it, Alex? Is that really how they feel?
Hey, Alex. While you're answering this, I think I'm gonna hop off because I got to finish up this document that I'm working on.
I'll let him know.
So, all right. Thank you guys so much for having me on.
Thank you, brother.
It was good talking to you. I'm glad you guys got Casey in here. She was great.
She's killing it, yeah.
Yeah, she's good. So, all right, man. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
So, Alex, what do you change your mind about?
I'm going to keep you all on the edge of your seat for 2 seconds while I just go see why someone's knocking on my door.
Take your time. And while he does that, let me address the conversation happening in the comments, because it's probably one of the most important conversations we could have on the show. I want to say I've lost your username, GGA son. So sorry about it. But I wanted to tell you that, thank you, my love. That's one of the most important things we can do, is contextualize these kinds of conversations. Far be it from me or anybody. If somebody is telling you what you should do with your money, those people are not your teachers. And we're super clear and aware that saying, bro, this is not financial advice, does not absolve somebody of the liability for making a financial advising statement. So you may be just joining us, but we want to be really clear that we're big proponents that there's no such thing as the best investment, that we aren't qualified to tell you what that is. That the question you should ask is, what is the best investment for me? And forgive me if we haven't done a good job of contextualizing it in this conversation, but when we say, where would you instruct somebody to look, to learn, to place their money? Really, that's why we return to principles of understanding what is the purpose this thing is serving, who are you, how do you build conviction? So please don't misconstrue, and accept my apology if it's easy to misconstrue what we say as this is where you should put your money, because that's really not our goal here. Our goal is to help everyday people know themselves and understand that investing is about much more than monetary capital. It's about your attention, it's about your social networks, it's about your credibility. And that by understanding the asset class of crypto with specific examples, not what to invest in, but for example, what have I invested in and why? You can make better decisions for yourself about whether or not you might even want to invest your attention, let alone your money, in this stuff as you seek to understand it. Long way to say, thank you for calling us back to that. It's important to us. Alex, please continue, because I know you got to go too.
I saw that one too, and I think sometimes I forget that like people jump into these things that
Totally
have not seen us before, because I sort of get a little bit complacent with just like I spend like every single day yelling at people for giving unsolicited financial advice and making it a point to say that I never say anything that I feel a need to say this isn't financial advice before. Because, you know, if the day ever comes that I have to defend the content I've posted in a courtroom, I don't want the prosecutor to be able to just hold up their phone and just push play on like 10 videos and make their entire case for them. And that is the case for pretty much everyone who makes content about cryptocurrency, that if the hammer should ever drop on you, you're all boned. So good. It was a good point for sure. The XRP thing. I've talked about XRP for years. And again, this is one of those moments where you either know who I am or you have no idea who I am. And if you don't know who I am, I'm aggressively anti-maximalist. I have zero issue with any narratives or any people or any communities in crypto. I talk about things unabridged, and sometimes that's me being critical of something, and sometimes it's me being appreciative of something. And it's all just about like who's trying to pursue a mission that I give a shit about and who I think has a good chance of actually accomplishing it. And the thing with XRP is that if you truly step back, forget the sanctity of your bags for a second, and just look at the mission that they're trying to accomplish, what they want to be is the settlement layer or the transactory currency for large-scale, secure, fast, cheap, easy cross-border payments. Okay, then ask yourself, who makes those payments? And in what size do they make these things in? The answer is that in any meaningful way, there's two categories. There's remittances, which are large volume, small value transactions. And then there's huge single transactions between governments and companies internationally, that sort of stuff. There are, in both of those categories, the people making the payment in no world at all want to use a volatile currency to do that. If you're making a remittance payment to a family member in a different country, you worked very hard for that money and it means a lot to you, and you're not going to risk it on taking a gamble at the same time before you send it over the border. On the other side, no government is ever, no bank is ever, no company is ever going to take the money that they need to get somewhere else for a deal or an investment and put it in something that could drop 5% in the few hours that they are going to take to approve and process and do whatever. This is not a thing where someone's like, hey, did you PayPal China $20 billion? Like, oh shit, no, I didn't. Let me just whip that off real quick. This is like a process. And it makes no sense to use a volatile cryptocurrency for that mission. Okay, so I do not care that XRP is the one making the statement. I don't care who it is. Solana could come out tomorrow and say that that's the case. Avalanche could come out tomorrow and say that's the case. Whatever, I would say the exact same thing. It doesn't make any sense. So just think about that. So what does make sense is for it to be a stable coin and to have very, robust reserves and solid infrastructure. And Ripple is a company that could totally pull that off. It could absolutely pull that off. They're one of the toothiest companies in the space. And I've been rooting for them for years to get out from underneath the thumb of US governmental regulation and enforcement with no basis. So pulling for them real hard. But as a utility for XRP, a non-pegged currency, it makes no sense. The stablecoin is the best thing they ever did. They are fully incentivized as a company, Ripple, to keep the price of XRP stable if they ever want that to be achieved. Okay? And that is exactly what they do, because they release it into circulation every single month like clockwork. That's a very posted and public vesting schedule. And if you look at just look at the last year, okay? Here's the snapshot for a year that CoinGecko breaks down for you. 1 hour, 24 hours, 7 days, 2 weeks, 30 days, 1 year. It's up 1% this hour. Just the same thing on the 24 hour. It's down almost 1% on the 7 day, flat. 14 days is the biggest movement. That's down 3.1%. But in the 1 year, that's up 0.3%. They're killing it at keeping this thing flat, which is in their best interest, again, to achieve their mission. That makes me excited about the infrastructure and the company and their longevity. And they were at consensus in a massive way. David Schwartz and Brad Garlinghouse were both on the stage. I saw both of them.
Alex, did you just rug yourself?
No, Mac
Okay.
rugged me. I gotta go. But just keep that in mind.
Yeah, no
Um,
fret.
so
I will contextualize
with
your remarks because I know where you're going with it. I'm happy to wrap it up
Thank
for
you,
you.
and I will see you guys all same time, same place,
Yeah.
bright and early tomorrow. So
Have a
sorry
good
to
meeting.
dip, but
Don't fret. We love you. We love your
talk to you
show.
guys soon.
I would simply add that, like Alex, my mind is so open. I am so ready to see a token, a company, a platform like XRP Ripple help open doors for people to do better stuff with their money. What I'm waiting for my mind to change is to see that there is a stable coin whose job is to maintain stability, but which is not controlled by somebody at Ripple pulling the switches. Because that's just like the centralized money system. There are a handful of people in the United States specifically, and it's often no less good, it's often worse around the world, where somebody controls the money supply. That's not what I signed up for when I came to crypto. I don't think that's in favor of everyday people. And I don't think banks are going to want to trust a platform that they personally don't own to pull those levers as they would expect. I think Ripple is a settlement token on XRP is a settlement token on a network like Ripple. You know, it's faster, it's cheaper than Swift. Absolutely makes sense for them to use it behind the scenes. But does it make sense for a bank to buy into some guy's token? No, not as much as it makes sense for a coalition of banks to come out with a stable coin, or for all of them to use a stable coin with their customers that they settle on a stable coin they own collectively, or that somebody less centralized than Ripple owns. My mind is so open to being changed on it, and I absolutely think it's a problem that crypto will solve for our banks and eventually help us to move beyond banks with. But, you know, I don't think we're there today. Hey, Nick, what's going on, man? Nick, I can't wait to see Deck's book up and live. I've been really enjoying watching your journey on that. It looks like you've made a lot of killer progress. And I hope that when you get it to a place where you're ready to start showing it off to people, maybe you'll come on the show and you'll give it a test drive. I think that would be super cool. Would I use my bank's own in-house currently? Probably not, unless it provided yield in USD. Absolutely. I personally would not prefer to use a bank. I think most people who understand, you know, the extractive business model would prefer not to use it. I think people feel that way about Amazon. It's just so darn convenient. You know, we are making a trade. It's the same thing about Facebook. People don't like that Facebook uses their data, but they appreciate the service it provides them. I think as people become more informed and have better options available to, you know, become their own bank or to build a bank together, and similarly to build communities together online and off, that they're going to want to use those things. I think crypto has an important role in helping institutions transition to tools that will bring those benefits to people. And then when people experience the benefits, they'll come to demand them. And that's when we'll move past banks. We'll move past Amazon, Facebook, etc. Nick, you're here too. Double Nick. Oh my gosh. You guys, thanks for being here. This is the really the end of the stream. It's just me now. But if you're, I know Nick, Nick Cryptography, what time zone are you in? Nick Junis, I know you just had a move, so it's not as early for you as it was. I think you tend to sleep in. Am I wrong there? We're here Monday through Thursday, starting at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. It's me and Alex anchoring the show. We usually have Will here, Coin Guide, for a couple of episodes a week. And then on Tuesday, Panel Day, we really invite everybody to come, and you guys would be most welcome anytime. Usually Mac joins us. We just had Casey here for the first time today, and it's a blast. We've had Glenn up, we've had Daniel up, and generally speaking, we want to build a more diverse panel so it's not just a bunch of white guys hanging out talking about crypto, but anybody who has something to share to teach people helpful information is welcome. Florida 9 a.m. Got it. V1 is live. V2 with whitelisting lock in a week. Right now it's free. Ooh, okay. Let me send you a message. Crypto 24 Love. It's difficult for average public to use cryptocurrency. So many layers to learn. Yeah, it is difficult. And we hope to make it a little easier by breaking it down in conversation. So if you're new, if you're not here often, come on back. We've got the show 4 days a week. We've got a newsletter we send out once a week that's super brief, usually just contains a quick wrap up, any kinds of links we reference, educational resources, stuff you can try, so you don't have to tune in to 12 hours of a stream to get the benefit. We post the episodes to YouTube at Faceless Labs. And then we've got the Discord community, which if you don't have a crypto community or you want to contribute to a community, it's a place you can come. You don't have to spend any money to jump in the general chat, ask a question, share a link, post what you know, and learn and grow together. It's all available for you. If you tap my face, you can click the link in my bio or just go to theriseupmorningshow.com. Theriseupmorningshow.com. We've got all the links there. We'd love to see you back. How do I get the newsletter? It's at theriseupmorningshow.com. It's the very first thing. You can sign up for it. You just put your name and your email in. We won't try to sell you anything except we will put a little link so you can buy a coffee mug. It supports the show. Makes you look good while you're drinking your Joe or whatever you happen to put in your mug. And you'll get it. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the questions. Thank you for the conversation and for making this a great community. We will be back tomorrow at 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Jump in the Discord. Sign up for the newsletter. Visit theriseupmorningshow.com to get it all. Thank you again, my friends. And until next time, everybody, rise up.